I think African Americans probably don't suffer with this question as much as Afro Europeans. You know, at least the Americans that were born and have lived the entire lives in America. Um, but yeah, the question is the following: where are you from? You know, and you only have two answers here. You can either say the European country that you were born, or you say the African country in which your parents were born. And when you say the first one, if you say, "Oh, I am Portuguese," for example, in my case, I'm Portuguese, they are always going to ask you, "No, where are you really from?" And it's something that has always annoyed me. You know, of course, I understand. I understand. A lot of these people think that because you are black, you can never be European. You're always going to be African. And this goes not only for white people but also for black people. For a lot of black people, if you say that you are from an European country, they are going to say as if you are denying your Africanhood, you know? And for me that never really made sense. And it really shows that a lot of people don't have good perspective. Like they are incapable of thinking outside of their own box. Why do I say this? I understand this perspective, of course. I completely understand. But I am someone who has lived in Portugal, Spain, and I've also lived in Saint Tomé, the African island where my parents are from. And I can tell you that in every single one of these countries, I was questioned in regards to my nationality, you know? So in Portugal, they asked me, "Where are you from?" You know, I was born in Portugal, lived in Portugal all my life. If you hear me speaking, it's clear like I was born there. And they still ask me, "Oh, where are you from?" No, no, where are you really from? And I say something like, "Oh." And you know, this happens all the time. When I went to live in Saint Tomé, I was 13. I was 13. I lived there 1 year because my father wanted us to, you know, see it for ourselves and see if we liked it and maybe live there with him. But I didn't really like it. But when I was there, because of the way I spoke, they were telling me or calling me Portuguese because I speak with a Portuguese accent. And, you know, the way that I speak, the way that I do stuff, you know, I had very little in common with them because the way that they live, the way that they, you know, talk about things, the way that they see things and think about everything is very rooted in their culture, the culture that, you know, that exists in the country, in the island. So even there, I was not considered, and I could never be considered, um, you know, African that was born in that country. I was not considered from Saint Tomé. And in Spain, of course, like I was just visiting there for 6 months. And yeah, there, like people were also asking me, "No, oh, Portugal? No, no. ¿Dónde eres? ¿Dónde eres? In Africa. Oh, Santo Tomé, no conozco." So it was very funny that, you know, in every single one of these countries, I was never like accepted. I never belonged to anything. So it just shows that that this is not a simple question. Like even if I say, "Oh, I am from this country," a lot of people may not accept my answer, you know? Even if I'm black, doesn't mean like, "Oh, I can say that I am from here." No, it doesn't really work like that. In my view, I think that nationality is personal. And what do I mean with personal? I think that you can claim to be from wherever you feel more comfortable, you know? And it's it's hard because a lot of the times, like in my case, I I can say I'm Portuguese, or I could even say I'm from Santo Tomé. And but I have an issue. I'm not really connected to any of the countries like that. I'm not a nationalist person. I'm not patriotist. Like, I don't have any of those traits inside of me. It's not like I am proud to be born in Portugal. I'm not proud of having like my parents born in Santo Tomé. Like, this is not something that I have, you know. So I have no pride in my nationality. It's just where I was born. So if I say I was born in Portugal or that I'm Portuguese, it's because, logically speaking, I was born there, I was raised there, I consumed the culture that existed there, and this is where I have a place that I can call home. I can feel comfortable, I can go out in the streets. Yeah, this is the country. So I feel like nationality is something really personal, and it's not that simple. It's really not that simple. Even like, for example, I say I'm Portuguese, but inside Portugal, we have a lot of different ethnicities. You know, we have the gypsies, we have white people. No, we have like a lot of people from Africa, like from all over, like the all of the Portuguese speaking countries. I feel like I am Portuguese, but I am an Afro Portuguese. You know, like I'm clearly African. Like I'm Portuguese, but I'm clearly African. I have my like my brothers in terms of like nationality. They are all people that are also Portuguese. Were born in Portugal, but they have African roots. These are my people. So like I think, like, in my view, my brothers and my sisters are other Afro Portuguese people. And why do I say this? Because the culture that we were born into, it's very different from the culture of the white Portuguese people. Like, very different. Even though I said that I have more in common with a Portuguese person, like a white Portuguese person, than with someone from Santo Tomé, it's nothing compared to how much in common I have with a kid the same age as me that has Cape Verdean or Angolan parents and was born in Portugal. Like, I have a lot more in common with them than with the random Portuguese person. I'm gonna just give you an example. The music we consumed, like the music that I consumed, is very, very different from the music that a white Portuguese person has consumed. They always show me like those classic rock albums, and they expect me to know. Like, what? I'm like, no, bro. Like, I'm black. And I'm not saying like no black person listens to rock, but mostly what we were listening to, like when we were 10, 12, 8 years old, I don't know, we were not listening to rock music. Like, it was not what we were listening to. We were listening to like kuduro. We're listening to kizomba. We're listening to Afro house. So we were listening to a lot of music that was consumed in our culture. So a lot of what I listened to before was, African music. And this was also a lot of what people from Cabo Verde, people from Angola, people from Guinea-Bissau, we were all listening to like the same stuff and having the same influences. And even like the way that our parents raised us is very similar, but compared to Portuguese white person, like we don't have much in common in that aspect. Of course, like we were watching the same stuff in terms of television because we all had the same programs happening in television. But this is just one way where you can see that like there's microculture inside the country, and this microculture can shape your identity so much that you're gonna feel like you belong more with the people that have also consumed that microculture. But it doesn't stop here, like part of the reason why I also have my own struggle of saying that I'm Portuguese or having like any sense of belonging is that I've suffered a lot of racism, you know. And I know that even today there's a lot of Portuguese people who think that I don't belong here and I shouldn't be here. Like I remember, I have a funny story. I remember I went to grab some books for school when I was like in the 11th grade or something, and I went to this place to buy some books, and yeah, they're already bought, and I just picked them up. And I remember the lady working there was like an old lady, and she just said like, I think in her mind it was an innocent comment, but I was like, why would you say that? So she just said something in the lines of, "Oh, I'm so glad you're studying, and then you're going to go back and help your country." I was like, "What? Why would you say that?" She was just assuming that I was, a passenger here. Like I'm just in Portugal to get the education and then go back to Africa, and then do whatever there because that's where I belong. I don't belong here. And this is something that happened like throughout my entire life. And that's why a lot of Portuguese people still, even when you tell them that you are from Portugal, they are going to ask you where you are really from because they don't see you as someone that is Portuguese, because a Portuguese person is a white person. This is for them what is a Portuguese person. Even if you have like a lot of athletes, black athletes representing Portugal, and when they win something, they are like Portuguese. But if they commit a crime, God forbid, if they commit like a sexual assault crime, or if they rob or if they kill, suddenly they are no longer going to be Portuguese. They are going to be like, nah, this is what happens when you bring these black people to our country. So I have like a very big issue with calling myself Portuguese. It's the most logical nationality for me, of course. That's why I say that I'm Portuguese. But like, I'm never gonna feel a sense of belonging. I'm never gonna feel any pride in being Portuguese. But yeah, it's an interesting conversation to have surrounding nationality. I don't know if the American audience will really like understand, because I know most of you guys don't know where you are really from. Like, I know where I'm from, but I know a lot of Americans don't know where they are from. So, yeah. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about this. I will probably touch on this more on other videos. And yeah, leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment, and see you in the next video.